now to your Two Dads Show. Ooh, JJ and Deacon, they're the ones in the know. Subscribe quick, the Squid Monster's on the way. Inspire with us, tomorrow's news today. This morning.
Oh, wow. That's weird. 87 Democrats and 0 Republicans at NPR's headquarters. Welcome back, everybody. I'm JJ. That's Deacon. We are your Two Dads, and we're here for another flawless, perfectly executed show. We meet here Monday through Friday, unless there's storms.
I'll be back. Okay.
Bye, Deacon. All right, we meet here Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning, unless something causes us to not work, or unless there's emergencies like yesterday. Deacon had an entire radio station go offline. I had, I think, Visual Studio Code destroying Restream. Not sure, but we meet here during the week and we talk about news and we talk about politics, culture, pop culture, stuff like that. How are you guys doing? Good morning, everybody. Let me put a little message out there. So we got, oh, that's not what I want to do. So we got, honestly, it's not a super exciting news day. I mean, there's like the abortion case in Arizona. There is, we got some Gator stuff happening in Florida. Boeing's got a whistleblower and NPR's got a whistleblower. So we got a couple whistleblowers. We got some Harris County news. If you're here in Houston, like I am, we got a little Harris County news about them giving out free money. So we got some stuff to talk about. Deke will be back in just a minute. I think we should start with the top story of the day, though. Let's go with. Check this out. I saw this morning. The senior editor, NPR employs 87 Democrats in editorial positions. 0 Republicans in the DC newsroom. So the news that comes from our capital, the NPR news that comes from our capital has 0 Republicans, 0 Republican journalists. Not especially surprising, because I mean, like most journalists are Democrats or are leftists. Most Republicans, most conservative people go and get, other kinds of work, other kinds of jobs. But let's check this out. I mean, it's crazy though that it's 87-0. That's striking. Far left National Public Radio, NPR, employs 87 registered Democrats in the editorial positions, but 0 Republicans in the same positions in its Washington, D.C. headquarters. NPR senior editor Uri Berliner wrote on Tuesday. Berliner, who admittedly leans left, wrote a scathing article about NPR's illiberal newsroom, slamming the taxpayer-funded network for refusing to address a diversity problem within their office. We got Deke. What's up, Deke? Deke's got to tell us what's going on. Yeah, no problem. No problem, Deke. Okay, let's go on here. The article was published on the Free Press, and he said he opposed many of the left-wing and perhaps false narratives NPR spun about the coronavirus lab leak theory. If you said lab leak theory in 2020, you would have probably got banned on YouTube. You would have got banned on Twitter, and you would have been shunned as a conspiracy theorist. But now, basically, we know it was a lab leak. It was a U.S.-funded biolab in China, and China leaked it. Maybe accidental, we don't know. They also had false narratives about the Don't Say Gay bill, right? We had false narratives about the Hunter Biden laptop, which we now know the Don't Say Gay bill wasn't about that at all. And the Hunter Biden laptop was totally true. And, the 2016 Russia hoax, all of that stuff. NPR participated strongly in that stuff. Politics were blotting out the curiosity and independence of that ought to have been driving our network, Berliner said. His concerns came to head when he told management in 2021 that NPR, which presents its news stories as unbiased, has a bias problem within the network. Okay, here we go. Here's a quote. So on May 3rd, 2021, I presented the findings at an all-hands editorial staff meeting when I suggested we had a diversity problem with a score of 87 Democrats and 0 Republicans. The response wasn't hostile. It was worse. It was met with a profound indifference. Got a few messages from surprised, curious colleagues, but the messages were of the, oh, wow, well, that's weird variety, as if the lopsided tally was a random anomaly rather than the critical failure of the diversity North Star. I guess North Star is like their guiding light of diversity. But they don't believe in actual diversity. Diversity is diversity of thought. Hey, Dave, if you're free, you can come join in. I'll drop the link. I don't know if you're free or not. Deke's got PC problems, so it's like that. Let's see, if you're not free, it's cool too. It's no big deal. I'm gonna put it into I don't know, supporter chat. Okay. Let's see. In a follow-up email exchange, top NPR news executive told me that she had been skewered for bringing up diversity of thought when she arrived at NPR. So she said, I want to be careful how we discuss this publicly. I don't even think these people realize how crazy they are, really. Like, the best thing in the world is to have people with different ideas. And then you can be like, oh, these ideas work and those ideas don't. Or sometimes those ideas work and these ideas don't. But the way that the left is, and I know you guys know this, the way the left is they only see diversity as skin color. That's all they see. They have, if you deviate from the orthodoxy of thought, you are a pariah. You are not a valued, diverse person. You are the enemy. For years, I have been persistent. When I believe our coverage has gone off the rails, I've written regular emails to top news leaders, sometimes even having one-on-one sessions with them. On March 10th, 2022, I wrote a top news executive about numerous times we had described the controversial education bill in Florida as the Don't Say Gay bill when it didn't even use the word gay. I pushed to set the record straight and wrote another time to ask why we keep using that word that many Hispanics hate, Latinx. On March 31st, 2022, I was invited to a manager's meeting to present my observations. Let's see. Over the years, Berliner wrote, NPR's newsroom tilted left in 2011. He said the network's audience tilted left a little bit, but still bore a resemblance to America at large. And that's probably not entirely true, though. I mean, especially in 2011, when people, it's fine. It's like whenever, dude. Whenever you jump in, just go ahead. I heard. I saw a dink, whatever, a post. Okay. So, think back to this era of 2011. 2011 would have still been an era where, we were deep in the internet age, but talk radio, especially conservative talk radio, was still very dominant in influencing the opinions and the thought of the general public, as opposed to today, where now podcasts and YouTube series are aplenty. You have an entire network rumble of free speech, and people can say whatever they want. So the old guard of kind of conservative thought, which was focused on AM radio, say, would have attracted one kind of audience, and the remainder kind of audience that would have listened to talk radio would have been the not conservatives. They would have been the liberals. Not that they're necessarily especially drawn and magnetized to NPR, but that's the audience that NPR could serve. And when conservative talk radio all across the nation on AM stations, Sean Hannity show, Rush Limbaugh, and a variety of shows across the country. The conservatives had a place to go listen. So it makes sense that the remainder of the audience, if they weren't extremists, if they were, think of themselves as moderates, but they're really liberals, yeah, of course that would have been the audience that NPR attracted. Not actual moderates, not people with balanced views, just people that weren't especially radical, but definitely were left. And so when you have an audience that's left of center, you kind of lean into that, especially as, your competition, conservative talk radio, is so dominant and so influential that, you got to keep those numbers up, got to keep the ratings up. The show's still got to be useful. So they tick, just a little left at a time, but they don't realize that they're going way, way left. They think they still think that they're the center. It's kind of funny. It wouldn't be a problem for an openly polemical news outlet serving a niche audience, but for NPR, which purports to consider all things, it's devastating both for its journalism and its business model. Yeah, they didn't conceive of their audience and business in alignment with reality. NPR's business model appears in decline. The taxpayer-funded organization laid off 10% of its workforce, going from approximately 1,200 to about 1,050 employees after the left-wing media company failed to generate enough revenue, the organization announced in 2023. I will say that this article is on Breitbart, which is admittedly right of center. So when they say things like left-wing media company, like that's kind of strong. And I don't know if it's strong language. Maybe it's true, but if you were I don't know that it's right to necessarily put that into an article like that. It's all cool, buddy. Deke's having problems. Yesterday I had problems. It's all right, man. Taxpayer funds subsidized NPR's budget by nearly 11%. NPR's far left position was reflected in the network's coverage when the Breitbart News senior editor at large Joel B. Pollack appeared on its morning edition with Steve Inskeep in 2016. During the interview, Pollack defended Breitbart News then executive chairman Stephen K. Bannon while calling out NPR's racist programming. Racist programming. Save the spirits you put in. I'm not on the spirits, dude. I'm just on the NPR story. National Public Radio Ombudsman, public editor Elizabeth Jensen has recommended that taxpayer-funded radio news service bar future what? Taxpayer-funded radio news service bar future live events of conservatives who may have controversial views, according to the interview November 16 with Joel Pollack. NPR has clarified its policy and says live interviews of conservatives will continue. Pollack, who I don't understand what I just read there. Pollack, who serves as Breitbart's editor-in-chief and in-house counsel, defended. Wow, that's interesting. Defended Stephen Bannon from false and defamatory claims of anti-Semitism and white nationalism. He also turned the tables, pointing out NPR has racist programming, including a story that called the 2016 elections nostalgia for a whiter America. Pretty funny. Let's see. The Free Press. Well, that looks like... oh, okay. That's Yuri Berliner. We could face up to where we've gone wrong. News organizations don't go in for that kind of reckoning, but there's a good reason for NPR to be the first. We're the ones with the word public in our name. I mean, do we need NPR? Do we need a government subsidized news outlet? I'm not sure. It could be said that that independent journalism, those free of editorial shackles, probably more valuable than state-funded media. I mean, it's state-funded. Best intentions aside, the government, with its political agenda and internal political actors and bureaucrats and agenda-setting, strong agenda preferences, hold the wallet that NPR needs to keep operating, right? And best intentions aside, there's somebody at NPR who, if the government doesn't dole out quite enough cash, they're not going to have a job. In fact, there's 150 of them, right? They got cut already, went from 1,200 to 1,050. But do we need public radio? I don't think we do. I don't think taxpayers should be paying for radio. We have independent journalists on Twitter, and Twitter is probably one of the best places to get. Here's Deke. Hey, Deke. Deacon. The show starts at 8 o'clock, sir.
Dude, let me tell you, I know, because at 5:50 this morning, I had recorded my stuff and I was attempting to save it from this computer to that computer. And you know how sometimes things will get updated in the middle of the night, and it will update, like, I don't know, your Microsoft Word gets an update and it will change all of your audio settings.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, that's what happened. It stopped this computer from talking to this computer, even though over the network everyone was listed as a user. We had to specifically go in, after trying like 15 different things. We specifically went in and gave this particular computer that permit. It took a while, but we got it fixed and it's working. So yay, my life got a lot easier today. Sorry.
So I just covered the NPR story. So too long didn't read for you, sir. Yuri Berliner, a leftist at NPR, kind of did an internal survey and found that of the editorial staff at the DC kind of head office at NPR, 87 top editor positions were registered Democrats, and 0 were Republicans.
Yeah.
87 to 0. It's shocking, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's shocking. I finally looked into that. Yeah. That's nice. What are they going to do about that now? DEI?
So yeah, right. Yeah, no. So my question is really, why do we need public radio? Do we need public radio? Why does American taxpayers need to be paying?
All radio is public. If you look down deep into it, the radio waves are public airwaves. Dude, I've got to really, you know what? I'm just going to. I
really think you have opinion about this. Obviously, when I say public radio, I'm talking about a media organization funded by not a licensing organization that licenses out airwaves, but a media organization with editorial control over what people say, being funded by the government as a mouthpiece for the government. Do we need that?
Yeah, and let me tell you, there probably needs to be some oversight to that, because they are National Public Radio is the name of their and I don't personally know how much funding they get, because they are National Public Radio, and non-for-profit radio stations can run their stuff. All right. They don't have to pay. Like, for example, you listen to my radio station, you listen to your radio station, and on the weekend they have, the weekend top 40 with Casey Kasem or whoever it is, Ryan Seacrest or whoever it is. And they have all these little shows that you listen to. Those shows cost either money or advertising space for the radio stations to air those. Sometimes the little up and coming shows will let you air them for free so that they can get some play. But National Public Radio gets this stuff. They get, are you listening to me? You're looking at something else.
Dave's here too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They bring him in. They get this programming from the NPR to use for free to fundraise and stuff like that. So yeah, in my mind, there probably does need to be some oversight on where taxpayer money is going to fund this kind of stuff, because we have found out that it completely leans one direction. And so unfortunately, a majority of the National Public Radio listeners, I'm not going to give a percentage, but I'll say a majority are left-leaning folk. Do you listen to NPR? The only time I listen to NPR in my area is it's on my college station, Murray State University. WKMS runs NPR all the time. And at nights when I'm coming home, they'll have like this world music program where they play music from all around the world, or they'll have jazz or classical. And that's a nice ear relaxation for me after listening to music all day long, is just to chill. That's the only time I listen to NPR. I don't listen to the freaking news. Do you listen to the news?
I listen to you all.
Yeah. We are the news.
Dave's already mentally in the head. He's the only place we get his news from.
Yeah. Hey, morning, Dave. Morning.
I'm at home right now, so
yeah, I can see that. So we had some apocalyptic events this week. We had something failed on Monday, and then something failed yesterday, and then last night we had like a crazy huge storm come through here. Oh my God, I have a funny story for you guys. I had a dream. You guys want to hear a funny story?
Yes.
So do you know that skinny chick from SNL? I'm not talking about Tina Fey. I'm talking about the real skinny one that makes the stupid faces. You know who I'm talking about?
From a long time ago?
Yeah. I mean, like, who watches that? Kristen Wiig. Yeah. Kristen Wiig. So I had a dream last night because there was a storm. And in the storm, and there was a real storm, but in the storm, the electricity in my house got zapped and some stuff got zapped. And for whatever reason, a whole bunch of people started showing up at my house. And there was just a bunch of people in my house, in the living room, down everywhere. And among those people was Kristen Wiig. And Kristen Wiig was here. And it was probably like 6 a.m, but Kristen Wiig was here with everybody else. And she was like walking around with a martini glass, making that stupid face. And she was prodding me. She was like, nah, and saying something and pushing me. And I said, hey, back off, lady. Stop that. And she did it again. Nah. She's doing something. She prodded me a couple times. And eventually I said, hey, that's enough. You do it again, I'm kicking you out of here. I said, bitch, get the fuck out. And I pushed her out the front door and shoved her out. And then I walked into the other room and I talked to my wife and I said, sorry about that. We won't be getting a Christmas card from Kristen Wiig.
What in the crap? Dude, you need to quit taking acid.
Why?
You go to bed.
Why?
So that was
Dude, can I share a funny story? I think y'all are going to love this one. This happened yesterday. I told Ashley, I didn't get to tell Alex last night. So Monday was the total solar eclipse. All right. And we were in almost all totality here. Not all the way, but close.
What percentage were you all in?
98, 99, something. It was close.
You were 99.01.
Ooh, nice. So you guys know Avatar, basic Avatar, The Last Airbender, whatnot. Well, you probably don't know, but there is in the cartoon, there is a little a story arc where there's going to be a total solar eclipse. And for those few minutes, the Fire Nation loses their power. So they're trying to do a big assault during that time. All right. It's a little minor story arc. So Monday, I create a text group with Deacon, my son, and Alex, my son, who both watch Avatar with me. And this is what I sent them. All right. This is what I sent them. I said, boys, as your father, I must tell you this. You are old enough to understand. While the eclipse is happening, our attack on the Fire Nation will begin. If we don't make it back and I don't see you again, I'm very proud of you both and I love you. For the Avatar, and then I sent like a little GIF. Well, Alex sent me a GIF back. Open the gate, he sent me one back, and Deacon never did. So I'm like, okay, all right, well, whatever. And I didn't think about it. Well, yesterday after the show, I'm farting around here at the radio station, and Deacon, at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, he calls me, and he's called me in his pocket from school before. So I pick up the phone and I'm like, hey, buddy. And I didn't hear anything. I'm like, buddy. I didn't hear anything. I'm like, he's calling me. And then I hear, hello. And I'm like, hello? You go, who this? And I'm like, who is this? And he goes, man, who is this, man? You call my phone. Somebody texted my phone yesterday. A weird message. He said, somebody texted my phone a weird message yesterday. And I was like, Man, who is this? You are calling from my son's telephone because his picture popped up, and and his picture popped up. It said Deacon, and so I was like, "You're calling from my son's telephone." He was like, "Man, I've had this phone number for about 4 years," and I was like, "What number are you calling from?" He said 217-968. I was like, I knew that number because that was my old number that Deacon had. I was like, "Man, that's what area code?" And he told me the area code, and I was like, "Wait!" And then it hit me. It immediately hit me. Deacon changed his number 4 years ago, and that's not the picture of Deacon that I have that pops up now. The picture of Deacon that I have that pops up is a recent picture of him and Tom Kenny. And so the guy that got Deacon's old number, I texted him and Alex. So yet during the eclipse, this random guy gets this freaking message that says, "We're going to attack the Fire Nation on the I love you. You're never going to see it."
Dude,
I profusely apologized to that guy when it hit me. I was like, "Oh my God." I told him, this is my son's old number. I'm so sorry. It was still on my phone. I'm so sorry. I will delete this number from my phone.
Oh no, you shouldn't have done that. You should have just kept texting him. This was a cute, a 21st century cute me. Let's just be friends now.
I should have been like, "Well, dude, I mean, we're still gonna. Are you gonna help us attack during the next eclipse?"
And not only that, you should have been like, "I'm real sorry about that. If you haven't heard already, I do have a show on YouTube, and you can come like and subscribe."
I thought that was funny.
That's hilarious, dude. Nice. All right. I had a story I was going to segue to, but I don't know. I guess my last question was, do we need? I was asking, do we need taxpayer funded media? And you said you don't know how much they get. According to NPR, they get 11% of their funding from the government.
That's a lot of funding. How much do they get from donations?
That's a good question.
There's a lot of
Let's look.
Hold on. Influence Watch. Oh wow, what's this? Let's see.
I've got to funding. It's my NASCAR alarm. I've got 3 minutes.
One thing that I think is good about public radio or public Broadway, like PBS, for instance, which would fall under, I think, the same spectrum.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers, dude, we need more Mr. Rogers. We need more Bob Ross.
There are so many great public access shows that are legendary here in Kentucky.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, dude. Here in Kentucky, JJ, we used to have this program when we were younger that I guarantee you Dave watched in his elementary school. Across Kentucky. Did you watch Across Kentucky on KET? Yeah. Every kid in elementary school, we would watch Across Kentucky for about 15 or 20 minutes on KET, whatever time it was during the day.
Right.
It was really interesting. There are a lot of great public access shows. And I'm not saying don't give to public access. I'm saying there needs to be some, if you're going to get a percentage of this money from the government, we've got some new rules. Radio has rules. I can't, just because I lean one way on my radio station and the owner and everybody leans this way, doesn't mean that we can give access to the people on our side. If I give you 5 minutes and 3 seconds, I have to give you 5 minutes and 3 seconds. Right. If I sell this to you for X amount of dollars, I have to sell it to you for X amount of dollars. I have rules.
Which makes sense.
Go by.
So the public access kind of argument that you're making, like, there was a lot of good that came out of public access TV, public access radio. Okay, that's true. And also in the era that happened in, the cost to entry to bring a show to market was so much higher and now it literally costs nothing to bring a show to market.
Absolutely nothing. I got a buddy that does it. He's a carpenter. He's got a woodworking show. He's been on public access for about 7 or 8 years. I've been on his show 4 or 5 times. It's a great show, and it doesn't cost him anything. He does it from his wood shop, and he's just a natural comedian. He's pretty funny.
Yeah. So in terms of funding, the National Public Radio in 2020 earned $275 million in revenue.
Yeah. And
Ridiculous.
a large percentage of that funding is coming from left people.
Yeah,
large percentage of that funding.
In 2017, 38% of the revenue was from individual contributions, 19% was from corporate sponsorship and licensing, 10% from foundations, 10% from university licensing, 4% from federal, state, and local governments via member stations. And now we know that they get 11% from the government, but still quite a bit of this is from individual contributions, I would imagine. So, like, what do they need? Wouldn't it be so easy to strike, I don't know, 40 million off of their budget and give it back to taxpayers? It'd be something. Okay, let's move on to another story. Let's see. We got 30 minutes or so left. Let's hit this other. So that was an NPR whistleblower outing the zero diversity of thought at NPR. And we have another whistleblower story this morning. This is becoming one of my favorite subjects to not fly with. Boeing hit after new whistleblower raises safety concerns. Oh, hey, I got to get rid of my werewolf there. Hold on. Okay. Boeing is facing new pressure after a whistleblower reported safety concerns over the manufacturing of its planes to U.S. regulators. Sam Salpour accused Boeing of taking shortcuts in the construction of its 787 and 777 jets. He claimed that he was threatened with termination after raising concerns with his bosses. But Boeing said the claims were inaccurate and added that it was confident its planes were safe. It's confident its planes were safe. I don't know how you could watch the news, especially some of the stories we cover, and then have the gall to say something like, oh, our planes are safe. I mean, except for when the walls fall off of them or the wheels or other parts of the airplane.
Did we show the video on here of the guy that had the hidden camera that was going around asking the workers inside the Boeing factory if they would ride on the airplane and all these? And I know it was edited and you only get the edit one, but
yeah, I think that was
them saying
not
no.
Veritas. I think that was an OMG video. I think that was a O'Keefe Media Group video.
And you have a large number of those guys, those workers that say no, and you have people like me that are automatically going to be in there that don't want to fly anyway. But these are the people that are making the airplane. You know,
right?
If you ask me,
you know what?
If you ask me, hey, should I listen to your radio station? I'm going to be like, absolutely. We're the best radio station around. We're the greatest. Listen to me. So when you ask, hey, should I ride on your airplane? No. Okay.
No way.
Why are you saying that?
The whistleblower complaint, which was first reported by the New York Times, is the latest incident to focus attention on the safety of planes made by Boeing, one of the world's two major producers of commercial airplanes. Did you know there's only two major producers of airplanes? I guess the other one's probably like Airbus maybe, or Lufthansa or something like that. Wow, we have only two companies in the world that major companies that make airplanes, and one of them, their planes fall apart while they're flying. That's absolutely crazy. The company was already facing criminal investigation and other legal troubles after.
It has to be like Airbus, Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, some of these companies are. Lockheed Martin makes a lot of tech stuff. I don't think they actually make airplanes themselves. They make Airbus. A lot of stuff.
I think it's Airbus.
Yeah. Airbus owns a bunch of other companies, I believe. Okay. They were facing criminal investigation and other legal trouble after the unused exit door broke off one of its 737 MAX 9 planes shortly after takeoff in January. Passengers escaped serious injury, but the incident has plunged the company into crisis, forcing a temporary grounding of dozens of those planes, drawing regulatory probes and prompting Boeing to dramatically slow production of its planes. On Tuesday, attorneys for engineer Mr. Salpour and Boeing had made decisions said Boeing had made decisions for 787 aircraft assembly, which placed stress on joints that linked up parts of the body of the jets, an issue affecting more than 1,000 planes. Okay, so the whistleblower saying like, they're not using the right bolts, or they're not using the right screws, or they're not doing something, and it's putting extra stress on the planes, and the stuff is going to fall apart. These problems are the direct result of Boeing's decision in recent years to prioritize profits over safety, and a regulator in the FAA has become too differential to the industry. Wow. Okay, so wow. I think those two guys had to catch a flight. He was threatened with termination, excluded from important meetings, projects, communication stuff. So, all right, Dave, what do you think about? Okay, so first of all, do you travel very much? Do you travel very much?
Occasionally. Occasionally. I think for me, it's like, man, this is a con on the capitalism pro-con checklist. Because I mean, you're
really
making the money. Yeah, you're all about making the money, right? What can you cut to get your margins up? Yeah, capitalism, supply, demand, all that stuff here. But what can I do to make myself richest as possible?
But they face they face little to no competition. This isn't a capitalism thing. This is a monopoly thing. A duopoly. There's two major producers. Yeah, a duopoly operates exactly the same as a monopoly, which is you don't have to consider things like that when there's no competition forcing you to.
Or if you get in contact with your competition and say, "Hey, let's do this."
Collusion, right? Yeah.
That happens. But yeah, Airbus is the number one. Boeing is the number two.
I mean, there's about to be only Airbus. Really? And I don't even think Airbus is an American company. I think that they're from Europe. I'm not sure.
No
maybe I'm wrong about that. Okay.
Hey, I got we only got like 20 minutes left, and this is Wednesday.
Let's do some other
short
stuff.
Day. I've got I've got a story that I want to bring up since Dave's here, because this postulates a very interesting question. And I'd like to get both of y'all's opinion on this, because I heard this coming in this morning and I grabbed this story so that we could talk about it. Ethan Crumbley, that school shooter in Michigan, had just convicted.
Not that Ethan.
His parents were just convicted. The parents of Ethan Crumbley, a teenager who in 2021 opened fire at his school in Michigan, are going on trial for manslaughter. James and Jennifer Crumbley have pled not guilty to 4 charges of involuntary manslaughter for their alleged roles in their son's rampage. They face up to 15 years in prison. I think they were sentenced. They were sentenced. This is an old story. They were sentenced yesterday, and they're all going to 3 different prisons and whatnot. How do you feel about parents being convicted for something like this, and how do you think that the repercussions of this? Do you think the repercussions of this will affect anything?
Let me get some more context and see like exactly what they were charged with. But Jennifer. So no, I got some newer stuff. Jennifer Crumbley is charged with involuntary manslaughter in the attack at the Oxford High School. Prosecutors argue that Jennifer Crumbley and her husband were grossly negligent, and their son's actions were foreseeable.
They had bought him a handgun. They did not, and I don't think that they secured it. They didn't have it secured.
All right. I
don't care about motive or anything. What do you think the parents should be held liable for stuff like this in any way? Do you think this was too harsh? Do you think this was too light? And do you think the repercussions of this will have any positive and negative?
Okay, so in terms of the left agenda of stopping people from owning guns, right? This becomes a legal pressure. Oh, we found that we can if we can't do anything about the person who actually committed the crime, we can sue the bejesus out of anybody associated with them, their parents or a guardian or whatever.
Okay.
And that will become a passive negative pressure on gun ownership. That is, you will that people, all other things being equal, people will be afraid of the government coming after them if something goes wrong. So rather than take the risk, people will suspend their own rights to own weapons and defend themselves.
Okay.
I want to
So I
hop
think
out
it's
the left-right side of it.
Yeah.
And just look at do the parents bear any responsibility for their child's actions? And I'm going to say yes, they do. Now, the ramifications, I don't know how deep those ramifications need to go. If this is gross negligence, yeah.
I'm sorry. I gotta go.
Sorry, Deke.
Sorry.
I got a timer.
Okay, you know what, Deke? We'll talk about this tomorrow too. I don't know if you're going to be available tomorrow, but
I can possibly be available. So there's definitely some gross negligence. It sounds. I haven't followed the case close enough to know.
Yeah,
I do think parents should bear some responsibility. Too many parents, they're lazy, offhanded. They don't know. They don't know anything about what's going on with their kids.
that's true.
The things that they're doing, the things that they're
you know
into.
what?
I mean,
we as the public, we can only make assumptions about what the circumstances were prior to the attack, right? We don't know if they're involved parents or not involved parents. So we can just assume like, oh, well, they must be uninvolved parents. They must not know what's going on. Deke, if you're here, yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk about this story tomorrow too.
I'm still here and listening.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hold that. I have to see all the answers. Okay. So we'll bring this up tomorrow and we'll consider it. Maybe we'll get some more details on the case and their convictions or whatever. But I mean, like the idea
along these lines.
Yeah, go ahead.
There are a lot of really broken people out there.
Sure. Pretty much all of them.
Yeah, and that brokenness gets, I don't know. It appears to get more severe as time goes on. Did you see the Joker 2 trailer?
I did.
Did you see this segue? That was a segue and a half right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Brokenness to holy cow.
Yeah.
Broken people.
I watched it only right before the movie. Now, Deke and I talked about this before the show. Like, and I mentioned, I was like, and he was like, I haven't seen the first movie and I don't care to. And honestly, I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, I didn't watch the first movie and I know it's award winning and Joaquin Phoenix is amazing and everything, but like, it's really dark. And like, I'm just like,
incredibly dark.
Yeah.
It freaked my wife out. It was incredibly dark. And I'm not a counselor,
right?
But I've worked with some individuals that have been in some really just bad situations. Is incredibly realistic.
Yeah,
as far as like delusions are concerned, as far as the individual's reactions and what they think is okay and. Now the city like falling apart because of what he does. That's not realistic, but his story,
the consequences of it.
Yeah. And so
it's fascinating that your internal interpretation of the world around you can be so wildly different and yet connected to the outside world. Real things are happening in the real world and you're just internally presenting them or interpreting them in a more colorful way or a different way. It's pretty interesting.
He's bullied throughout the movie to the point of just breaking. And so I don't know.
Do you have any comments about the trailer? Like I can bring the trailer, but I can't play I don't think I can play the audio because it's music.
Yeah, it's music. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with the movie because I'm going to watch it. I think Phoenix is amazing.
Oh yeah, he's always made interesting choices in stuff.
I feel like a lot of the trailer after seeing the first movie, a lot of the trailer is taking place inside his delusion or her delusion, or if she's even real, I don't know, because. man, I do recommend the first movie, but I'm telling you right now, it is straight up dark.
Yeah, and it's probably one of those things I'm very aware of it. I followed it a lot. I watched a lot of clips about it and stuff, and I could watch it, but I just it's just
Taxi Driver was better.
Yeah, oh yeah. So look at this. This is the trailer on YouTube. Okay. And it's, have you ever seen this before? This is the following content may contain
I did not see that when I watched
or
the trailer.
self-harm topics. Viewer discretion advised. That is, I've never seen that on YouTube. That is a new thing.
I am trained as a suicide awareness instructor, and I'm trained for intervention and stuff like this. And I do know that when suicide is discussed, it can sometimes cause people to think about times that they've lost loved ones.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily promote suicide.
Right. No.
Okay. I'm glad they're doing that.
Well, yeah. Especially like this topic, it's kind of, it's not related, but like last week I spoke about Ed Piskor, and I was covering the Ed Piskor thing because that was just, I'm honestly very, very upset about that for days. And I realized that people most people are probably like, who's Ed Piskor and what's the problem? So like I'm extremely turned over about that social media pressure in 7 days can be so pervasive that it would cause somebody to take their own life. And of course, if anybody is feeling like, I guess before we start this, because of that message, I just want to say, if anybody is ever feeling like down and feeling like, oh, you can't get ahead and you're behind and you're never going to scrap ahead or whatever, that's just not true. It is just not true. That is the darkest part of your brain, and you have to turn that off. If you are a person of faith, you talk to God, work some of that stuff out, talk to other people for sure. Don't just kind of like, don't keep yourself in a shell and not talk about it. You got to talk to somebody about this.
You can call 988, which is the suicide 911 version. You can text or call 741-741. You can call, text me. My information's, you have to be in the Discord, but reach out to me. I will work on getting resources for you and everything.
There is no reason to take a permanent solution, because the problem that you have, however bad it is, I'm in crippling debt. You can actually get out of debt. You can get out of crippling debt. Yeah. I've committed a terrible crime. Yeah. Everybody does things, and it's unforgivable. It's actually not. However bad your problem is, as bad as it is, there is a way forward, and that way does not include self-harm. Please don't do that. Please talk to somebody. Okay. Now, with that being said, this is a Joker trailer. This is it. This is just crazy. I wonder if Warner Brothers is going to push back on this. I am going to turn the audio off.
So the music in the background, I will say that it's a melody of what the world needs now is love. Yeah. Which you can kind of hear there.
Yeah.
Which is really, oh my word.
All right, I'm not gonna do too many seconds of it. So I saw this only once right before the show show started today. So this kind of, I'm not sure who directed the Joker movie. This has got great visual like language. Yeah, and that's Lady Gaga. She's playing Harley Quinn, who is, if you're, most people I'm sure know, but like, this is interesting. Like, this scene, it can't be that he gets out of the mental institution and is not doing comedy shows dressed as the Joker, right? So this has got to be like some manifestation of his craziness while he's in the clink, or maybe he gets out, but he's not doing a show. So what's going on here?
He might be doing a show.
Yeah, maybe. So it looks like, because she's supposed to be a therapist, like a psychologist. Mm-hmm. At least she was in the original Batman the Animated Series cartoon. She was a psychologist who then fell in love with the Joker and then just went bonkers. And I would think that if she were a therapist and treating him here, she probably wouldn't be dressed like another patient. So do you think maybe they tweaked it a little bit and then they made Harley Quinn also a bonkers patient that's been committed to this? Because look, there's a guy in the back there. You got an orderly right there.
Right. The last scene makes me think no. The last
think
scene from the trailer.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna keep playing
you'll see.
it. So she says, "Let's get out of here." And then this looks like a play of some kind where somebody's dressed as a clown, but it's probably Joaquin and that's her. And they're having, like a little wild romance. Oh my God, Deke. Batman, 1989. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
The pale moonlight. Nice.
Oh my
nice.
gosh. Guys, this is not
That's a
bad.
good call. No.
And then, okay, so this is what I'm talking about. They are, they must have got out somehow. They're now in the street and they're running around and dancing with each other. But in their minds, they're having this romantic, like meet cute of some kind. See, he's out running. This looks like the real world. You've got his crazy followers. And there she is in the Harley Quinn makeup there. I mean, it looks like a really interesting movie. Oh, maybe he's going to court. Oh, maybe she's testifying to his sanity or insanity. And if she's actually a therapist, but they're falling in love and he's being tried before the court or being, like she might actually be expert testimony to get him released. He's better now. And you know what I mean? And get this guy out of it. Yeah.
We're almost to the scene that I was talking about. That makes me think she's actually. Here it is, right here.
So here, I'm going to put the volume back on.
I want to see the real you.
We're definitely on different sides of glass.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
look,
man.
I haven't.
I'm excited for it. I did not want to see the last.
Directed by Todd Phillips. This guy right here, brilliant visual language. The washed out colors, but then the super vivid umbrellas. The real world. I think like back here, right here. So here is a shot of them in the real world, and yeah, there's color, but this is desaturated slightly. And the yellows are popped out a little bit, but the colors here are kind of like a little bit flatter, which is kind of like what it would be if you were psychotic, but they kept putting you on meds, and it just brings your stimulus down a little bit, and the whole world seems a little flat and gray, as in rich contrast to like this stuff where he's obviously having a psychotic like moment or something, but it's rich and vivid and theatrical. So, I mean, I won't be one to watch it in the theater just because like of my circumstances with the kids and whatever. I can't do that.
Right.
But, I
think my oldest son and I went and saw it in the theater. And one of the guys from church, or three of us. No, we saw the Batman movie in the theater. I'm pretty certain I saw the Joker movie in the theater too.
Yeah, that Batman movie was very long.
It was very good.
It was good, which I didn't expect Robert Pattinson to be a good Batman. I thought he was a great Batman. I thought he was a horrible Bruce Wayne, but I thought he was a great Batman. Yeah. No, it was. Yeah, that's true. It was honestly, it's been so long. It's forgettable Bruce Wayne. Like, I don't remember him being Bruce Wayne, but I remember that
Bruce Wayne wasn't important. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really wanted them to end with the mayor, or Bruce Wayne calling the mayor. That's how I wanted the movie to end, and saying, "Hey, how can I help?" Then his story arc would have been completed, and I'd have been, this is great. But they didn't do it.
All right. Dave, thanks for filling in for Deacon this morning. I know it was a short show for him, and it was kind of like last minute at least the show didn't crash today.
That's true.
As we do every single day that the show actually works. We end the show with a dad joke. So for those of you, and Do Good, I saw you. Thanks for hanging out, Do Good. For those of you guys that hang out here, you get a free joke, an absolutely hilarious joke to somebody.
I just changed my
Dave.
joke because of that. Yeah.
Okay. Dave.
Yep.
What did the bride say when she dropped her bouquet?
I don't know.
Oh, whoopsie daisies. Whoopsie daisies. Okay.
But I used to live in the Appalachian Mountains, like where Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky all meet. I was a minister down there for about 3.5 years. And I noticed they did have good laughs there.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Yeah. See, mountains are just, they aren't just funny. They're hilarious.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give you listen, delivery is important, sir. You can't, you know what? Hold on. We're going to go again. But before we go again, I want to bring up something that I saw yesterday. I meant to tell Deke about it. I'll tell him about it tomorrow. For those of you who leave feedback on our YouTube channel, I read that stuff. I don't always read it right away, but I definitely read it. And somebody came by yesterday and was, what do you call it? Heckling me. Yeah, trolling me or whatever. Yeah, he says this. He says, and let's see. The irony of being against civil rights while simultaneously being fans of Marvel is hilarious. This is from Can't Wait for Phase 7, a show we did like a billion years ago. And I was thinking to myself, like, when did I say I was against civil rights or that I'm a fan of Marvel? So I don't know what he's doing, but good on you there, sir, for trying to take me down. And then also, this is what I imagine incel conventions to look like. So Deacon and I are what a leftist imagines incel conventions to look like, even though I am not an incel. My wife makes regular appearances on the show. So anyway, if you guys let me just say it. Let me just ask this. If you're gonna come over to the YouTube and leave a comment and burn us, can you put in like some effort? Because that was lame. That wasn't good. That wasn't good. All right. Just try to burn us a little harder than that. This sucks. I mean,
all right. So you wanted a second joke?
Yeah, let's do another joke. Let's try one more time.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you call a lazy baby kangaroo?
What do you call a lazy baby kangaroo?
Couch potato.
Okay. All right. Why did Jimmy's parents scream when they saw his grades? Any idea? It was a B on his report card. It's not too bad. It's okay. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Dave, thank you very much for filling in. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Like and subscribe.
To talking heads lying left and right. You can help us bring facts into the light. Don't let your daughter lose her next swim meet to a psychopath dude with fake teats. Tune in now to your To That Show. JJ and Deacon, they're the ones that know. Subscribe quick, the Squid Monster's on the way. Conspire with us, tomorrow's news today.
Oh, Rexy, you're so sexy.